The Persecution and Oppression of Deep People, Part 2. So you have the two basic tribes, or I used to call the two basic races, deep people and chats. The best relationships are an honorable deep person with an honorable deep person. That's the best. The worst is an honorable deep person with a dishonorable deep person, because the dishonorable deep person will get a good connection, but will exploit the person. So the second best relationship is an honorable deep person with an honorable chat. However, it takes a long time to know who's honorable, but you can tell pretty quickly who likes to just chat and keep it on the surface and who likes to go deep. That's more readily established. Okay, so now I'm going to open it up for conversation. We've had parts 1 and 2. Any questions or comments about what I'm referring to as the two tribes?
Thinking about what you said, and I think a lot of times we feel like that because normally we're outnumbered.
That's a very important point. The chats rule the world. That's true.
Yeah, so I often get that feeling because, yeah, it's always more of them for some reason, but it kind of causes you to hold back and not come forth and speak your mind and you know, talk about certain things because it makes you feel some kind of way. So you just keep quiet.
You know, Francesca, I'm so glad that you're saying this, and I want you to know something. What you're saying that is going to help other deeps, because I want the deeps to know you're not alone. In fact, I'm trying to have a gathering of the tribe of the deeps. I'm really glad you're saying that, Francesca. Very valuable contribution. You'd be surprised how many people identify with what you just said. Well said, Francesca.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a friend that she has a deep personality, but you know, she doesn't speak English. She only speaks Spanish, and I notice how she's always been taken advantage of, and it's always like finding herself in situations like that. Do you where can I find information that she can get for herself so she can read or
well, we have this in English. You can translate what I'm saying to Spanish for her, but you know, I basically the whole distinction of the two tribes of deeps and chats, I've created that, or life led. It's not like there's a lot of literature about it. This is it. You're not going to hear this terminology anywhere but here.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because I learned so much about myself. You know, I guess all of us, you know, and it's something that I never knew about it, but then I started opening my eyes.
Well, let me ask you something. Are you a deep or a chat?
I think I'm a chat. You know, like I'm not so. I think I'm a chat deep or deep chat.
Okay, okay. I call it a chat deep. So you're a chat. You're a deep trapped in the chat's butt.
Yeah.
You're a deep trapped in the chat's psyche. You want to go deep, you don't know how to go there. Is that so? You're a chat deep.
Pretty much. Yes.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up because the two classes of chats: confirmed chats who just want to chat, and then chat deeps who really want to go deep but don't know how to go there. Same with the deeps. You have deep 1 who can go deep intellectually, deep 2 can go deep emotionally, and then you have the deeps who can go deep intellectually and emotionally. Very good. You're a chat deep. All right. Kimberly, thank you for saying that. It's very good to have your input. Kimberly, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I don't know what I am. I know for a fact I'm a deep, and I think you've even called me out on it.
Oh, you're a deep. You're very deep, very deep.
Yeah, I might be a deep, yes. And I think it's amazing how, I don't know who spoke first, but when she was saying about how there's obviously a lot more, there's a lot less honorable people.
Well, there are more chats than deeps, but honorable people. Yeah, honorable people, we don't know how many what percentage honorable chats or what percentage honorable deeps. We don't know that, but we know there's far more chats than deeps.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Sorry. Yes, they are a lot more chats than deep. And even me going to school, having to deal with a lot of people that are just not as deep. I think they're very like shallow, I guess you can call them.
That's some of the words. Superficial, shallow, surface. Those are the terms that are commonly used.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to gauge how to handle that. I know I've been to a lot of your, these meetings, and I've talked to you multiple times about my feelings, and I feel like I'm still learning, but I have learned a lot from you on how to channel all my emotions and not let them get the best of me.
Now, I've seen you make a lot of progress with managing your anger. How do you feel around the chats? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel lonely with them? How do you feel, honestly?
Honestly, I feel like I feel a lot more comfortable.
You feel more comfortable with chats, you're saying, or deeps?
I'm sorry, it's because you're cutting out. I do apologize.
Do you feel more comfortable with the deeps or the chats?
Oh, with the deeps. Sorry, with the deeps.
Okay. Tell me why you feel more comfortable with deeps.
I feel like because they're real.
They're more real.
They talk from the heart instead of just, chatting and just going on about stuff that doesn't even make sense or stuff that just,
doesn't matter. Stuff
exactly,
that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Talking
so
from the heart.
I relate to the deeps a lot more.
Deeps tend, especially deep two, who talk from deeps who talk or deep emotionally, and deeps who do it intellectually and emotionally, talk more from the heart, more real. Absolutely. I'm really glad you brought this up, Kimberly. Excellent. Absolutely. How do you feel around the chat?
How do I feel about what? I'm sorry?
When you're surrounded by chats, how do you feel?
When I'm surrounded by chats, I feel a lot more comfortable than I used to. Back then, I was just such a shy person, and I was always very deep about my emotions and my feelings and how I felt. And now I feel like I can just, kind of like, again, channel my emotions and not really let them get the best of me.
So you feel more comfortable than you used to. I would ask you this question. Do you feel you can be your genuine self with the chat? Yes or no?
Oh, wow. Probably not.
So you can't be your true self. So what you're saying is when you're with the chats, you're not totally real.
Yeah, exactly. No.
So you're with the chats. I use the word, you have to become a bit phony. Is that correct or not?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so that's what I want. Yes. Thank you, Kimberly. That's why I call this the persecution, oppression of deep people. Because for a deep person to have to act phony, that's an oppression. That's oppression.
Yes.
That's oppressive. For a deep person, for anybody to feel, for me to get along with you, to be here with you now, I have to be phony.
Yeah.
That's painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is very painful. You're absolutely right, doctor. Yes, I'm so sorry. I think I just kind of didn't understand it.
No, you've got it now.
Yes, I cannot.
Now, Kimberly, what you've just added is awesome. You're an awesome person. You're a deep person. I recognize you early on. All right, now.
Yes, you did, and not a lot of people don't. So thank you for that.
No, my pleasure. Now, somebody else was just nodding their head. Yes, I forgot your name right now, but
Jonathan. It's Jonathan.
Oh, Jonathan. Yes. So, Jonathan, what were you saying?
Well, I feel like it depends on the situation and who I'm around, whether I'm going to go deep or not. And I've been caught in situations where I didn't really understand this at the time, and I'm still learning it. But I would definitely agree that there are different types of people, some who go deep and some who just chat. And I'm learning now to recognize that.
Do you find the vocabulary helps you understand your experience more?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I've been caught, I don't know how many times, trying to go deep with someone and then sort of like, because that's who I am.
Jonathan, you are a deep. You are a very deep guy. Very deep guy.
I think my wife would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's here with me. I invited her to join as well.
Good, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, we're both very deep people, and we tend to go deep with very select people. She's better at understanding this than I am. I'm just deep with everybody, but I'm learning.
Now, do you feel when you go deep with a chat, do you feel like they think you're weird, or you don't get that feeling?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I've felt weird my whole life.
Okay, now let's stop with that. So Jonathan is a beautiful human being, beautiful, very beautiful human being, and he's felt like he felt weird his whole life around the chat. Imagine feeling weird, like a weirdo, your whole life because people are just chats. That's oppressive. So I'm calling this an oppression, a persecution. Now, do you think the chat's meant to make you feel that way, or they just did it and didn't know it, or are they actively making you feel like that?
Yeah, no, they so it gets to a point to where I feel bullied because I want to be deep, and it's almost like I'm getting beat up emotionally and verbally, and I have been beat up physically for it in the past because I am so deep. So
well, let me interrupt right there. So Jonathan, believe me, a very beautiful, wonderful human being, felt beat up, oppressed, rejected, a weirdo his whole life by the chats. That's tragedy. There's got to be, there's so many. I'm trying to have a gathering of the deeps. It's a very valuable contribution, Jonathan, because many people feel as you do. Please continue. I interrupted you to emphasize the point.
That's all right. What I was saying is that my original point was it depends on the people or the person and the situation, because sometimes I've got my guard up and I don't know why, and it causes a problem even in my own marriage. And I know my wife deals with the same issues because she's a very deep person and she guards her heart as well. And a lot of our conflict arises from this feeling of like not knowing if the person's going to be nice in that moment or not. So because of what we've experienced throughout our lives with people, I guess with your vocabulary that I'm learning, a chat who has completely destroyed us verbally or emotionally. Or
so you felt destroyed by the chats, is that correct?
Yeah.
So you're saying you felt persecuted, oppressed, and you even used the word destroyed by the chats. Well,
yeah,
that's
I'm
a lot,
take
Jonathan.
I'm going to take some responsibility in that, because the other point I was trying to make is not understanding that people are not like me. I've forced a lot of emotions and situations on chats, and it didn't end up well. So now I'm learning that not everybody is someone who's deep. And if I recognize that, it's not necessarily that we can't be friends. It's just I need to understand that they're not really capable of going deep,
Now that's very well said. So you have two types of chats. You have the committed chats who are just not capable or desire to go deep. That's just not there. It sounds like that's who you're mostly oppressed by. But then you have the chat deeps who chat, but they really want to go deep. They just don't know how to go there. A chat deep would respond well to you. They may not be able to go with you, hang with you, but they want to.
Yeah, I've had that situation too, and it didn't end up well. So someone who I know is deep, but they're a chat, and I've really opened up and tried to be there and be deep, and I got completely rejected and slammed. So it actually, it broke my heart, and I'm learning now.
Well, look at the word you've used. Broke your heart, beat up, oppressed, bullied for being a deep. That's why some people might be shocked when I talk about the persecution and oppression of deep people. It goes that's how severe this is. I'm talking about two different tribes. And there's got to be a way of some kind of peace being made between the tribes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me share.
Oh, Jonathan, your contribution is, you make the point of where I'm going with this. And you're going to help a lot of people because a lot of people feel like you do. A lot of people. Does anybody else have anything you want to add or say or ask?
I have a question, Doc.
Yes.
This is Maria.
Oh, Maria, I'm so glad you're here.
Yes, at my age, and I've learned to accept myself, and like you, I don't care if I be honest and open up. And if people want to use it against me, by all means, let it be. But I find myself withdrawing from big groups because I feel lonely or annoyed.
So you're lonely and annoyed when you say big groups. That's because it's dominated by chats, or that's not so. What?
So what?
So when you have a group dominated by chats, you're withdrawing and getting lonely. Is that what that's what you're saying? That's, I think, very, very common for deep to start feeling lonely, and perhaps even annoyed or agitated. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'd rather spend time with myself. I like myself. I travel alone. I don't have a problem with that. But I would like to incorporate myself more in groups, like our previous speaker said, accepting that we're different.
Well, I'm having a gathering of the deeps. I'm doing that gathering of the deeps. You're not likely to join any particular group, a book club, a religious group, where you're going to have many deeps. I don't care what religion is. They're going to be mostly chats. I don't care what political party is. It's going to be mostly chats. I don't care what social settings. It's going to be mostly chats. I don't care how great a family you have. They're going to be mostly chats.
That is true. That is correct.
The chats run the world. And the deeps, though, we have a right. Now, I'm going to say something about, I'm going to go off in a minute and expand it. Maria, I so much appreciate you, Maria, that you're sharing this. You inspire other people, just like Francesca and Jonathan and Kimberly, everyone who spoke up as deeps. And keep in mind, there's some beautiful chats, very honorable, loving chats. You have them. But people need to know what the deeps are going through. I don't think people know the depth of the suffering that the deeps are going through. I don't think people know. Some won't care. Some of the chats won't give it on one way or the other. But some will really care. Hey, I didn't know you were going through that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very, very much for that, Maria. Was there anything else you want to say?
No.
Okay.
I am working on integrating myself more into all groups, accepting that we're different. And be more patient.
Well, being more patient, it's tough. I know the journey, and you're starting to now with the nomenclature, you're starting to feel less alone with it, and more of a comprehension, which is good. Anybody else? Thank you, Maria. Anybody else have anything you want to ask or say?
Hi, Dr. Nerenberg. It's Bernice.
Oh, Bernice, you're here. Great, Bernice.
Hi, of course. I can't miss this one.
I didn't see. Yeah, thank you for being here. I'm so glad you're here.
No, thank you. I'm sitting here with Emily, and we're both two very deep people.
Oh, hi, Emily.
Hi, Dr. Nerenberg.
Okay, glad you're here, Emily.
And I'm so glad that I was able to, I kind of planned this out. I was like, I'm going to be around her, during this meeting because, I know she gets so much from it. And it's like a good, cleanser for her,
Right.
So I just want to, spread the honor movement that way. And also, I want to know, how do you embrace, being a deep? Because sometimes, I find myself, lamenting that I'm deep. This sucks, because, of course, the oppresses me.
Well, let's look at that. So sometimes you lament that you're a deep. That's a tragedy.
Yeah,
A
'cause
beautiful human being like you, Bernice, feeling, lamenting that you're a deep person. That's tragic. Totally tragic. That a deep, beautiful human being like Bernice, who would not harm anybody, who's so good to human, every animal, beautiful heart, and she's lamenting that she's deep. That's what I'm talking about, the oppression of the deep.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that. Even Emily was like, "Oh, like that's so like that's an epiphany." You know what I mean? That we, as deep people, can be oppressed by a world ran by chats.
Now, I need some people to mute themselves, but yes, it's a world run by chats. But we have a right to be who we really are, as long as expressing our true selves is in a respectfully real manner. Whether you're with chats or deeps, it's your right. But you lamenting being a deep, that's tragic. In my mind, that's totally tragic.